Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Rapid Kirby 3K. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, video game playthroughs, random thoughts, whatever the case may be, pretty much any type of video, feel free to send it. Thank you folks for your patience, your kindness. I do appreciate it. So I try to pump these videos out as soon as I can. I upload 3 or so, maybe 4 or more a day. It's the least I could do for you guys being so kind. So thank you, man. Everybody. Man, woman, both, neither, everybody. Thank you. But this paid request from, again, Rapid Kirby 3K was for a commentary on evolution, which is very cool because I have the Blu-ray. I'm watching on my computer because it's a bit easier for me to do it that way, but actually now I'm trying to think, do I have it over here? I might have the Blu-ray over there actually, because in 2021 it did finally get a Blu-ray. It was not on Blu-ray for the longest time. I did have the DVD, but in 2021, I think November, it finally had gotten a Blu-ray, which is very cool because I think it's an underrated film. And if you haven't checked it out yet, and if you have the film on DVD or Blu-ray, check out the commentary track. The commentary track is a lot of fun. It's got David Duchovny and Orlando Jones and Seann William Scott and Ivan Reitman, who has sadly passed away. But we'll get into all that and more. But very, very funny, entertaining commentary. All in the same room. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll pause the beginning for those who want to follow along. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So we have the logo coming up for Sync, pulling back on the mountains, and then the company we have here is, with the bell, the Matachito Picture Company. Now this came out in the summer of 2001, and sadly this film was a big, massive bomb. It cost like $80 million, but only made about $34 million. No, maybe 38. About 38 million in the U.S. Because I remember it was not quite 40. So it's about 38 million. I think it made 94 million worldwide. So when you have an $80 million budget and it hasn't even made didn't even make 100 million worldwide, that's a flop. It was a massive flop, which is a shame. When it came out, it debuted at number 2. I think Shrek was number 1. So Shrek was getting popular. Then a week or two later, you had Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the first one. You had The Fast and Furious 2 or so weeks after that. Well, I think after this came out, because I think all those came out in June. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Fast and Furious, and then this was before that. But before this, Shrek. So it had some heavy competition, but a lot of people didn't like this. The critics lambasted it, saying it was a poor man's excuse of Ghostbusters. I'm like, no, Ghostbusters 2016 and Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghost Pliers, because those new Ghostbusters felt like pliers on my balls. What the fuck was it called? Fire and Ass, Fire Crotch, no, Ice and White Ice Castle. I forget what the fuck. Ice's Frozen Empire. Frozen Cupcake, whatever the fuck it was called. Yeah, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, and Afterlife, more like After. Fuck those movies. If you like them, that's fine. To me, those are shitty Ghostbusters. Like Pixels. Pixels is a shitty Ghostbusters send off, take off, piss off. This, I think, is fun. Is it perfect? Is it a comedy classic? I wouldn't go that far, but I think this is a fun, entertaining diversion. Because of the cast, the chemistry of the cast. It's a fun concept. The CGI doesn't hold up the best. It's from 2001. But there's some fun designs of the creatures. And I think the cast makes this a fun time. Here you have Seann William Scott. His character wants to be a fireman. So he's trying to do this test. Seann William Scott, this is after the first Final Destination, which came out, what, 2000? And American Pie. So I think the same year American Pie 2 was coming out. So this is when Seann William Scott was a rising star. Now, sadly, he had a lot of flops after this, and that's why once in a while you see him, but not that often. I haven't seen the films, but there's like The Goon and The Goon 2, those hockey movies. I haven't seen them, but what I mean by series of flops, Bulletproof Monk, which was a horrible movie. I saw that in the theater. That was 2003, I believe. Fucking hot dogs and hot dog buns. Fuck stupid dial. Like stupid shitty ripoff. Like it's based on a comic book, but the action seems like The Matrix. Really cool stunt there with the car flying off. All done practical for real. I remember Ivan Reitman said that Seann William Scott missed the mark. That's why it was a bit off. And this shot coming up, it was another... So he kind of missed the mark. Like he was supposed to hit a different mark. So he didn't quite make it. Now there's another shot which you see he's got his coat. See, he's got his coat. That was a shot they did later. Because it's like, why would he have his coat? So a little bit of mess up in terms of... I mean, I guess you could say in the midst of it, he found a coat, got a coat on. But I know that was shot... I don't know if it was pickup shots or something like that. But yeah, Seann William Scott, Bulletproof Monk didn't do well. I liked The Rundown, but that did not do well. What else? He had Mr. Woodcock flopped with Billy Bob Thornton. He was in that Dukes of Hazzard movie. That film flopped. I mean, when you have that number of flops, they kind of look at it, well, he's not a box office guy, and they stopped casting you and stuff. So once in a while he was in The Wrath of Becky. He was pretty good in that as the villain. But they just didn't cast him anymore. Once in a while you see him in the direct-to-video stuff, but not so much in big-budget movies. But yeah, Bulletproof Monk, Dukes of Hazzard, The Rundown, Mr. Woodcock, they all flopped, so... Mr. Woodcock, I'm not a fan of. I think Mr. Woodcock sucked the cock. But I did like Dukes of Hazzard movie. I did. I liked the movie for what it was. And I liked The Rundown. I think that's The Rock's best movie. I think that's Seann William Scott's best movie. Now, these two students here that David Duchovny's talking about, on the left, you got Ethan Suplee, who I remember from Mallrats, trying to stare and can't see the sailboat. You know, those paintings that you're supposed to relax your eyes, you see a hidden image. So, he was on My Name is Earl. He lost a lot of weight. He's in pretty good shape now, so he lost all that weight. But I remember him the most from Mallrats. Ethan Suplee, right there, talking. Now, the other guy on the right, the younger brother, that is Michael Ray Bauer. Yeah, the one on the right there. Michael Ray Bauer, he was on Salute Your Shorts with the nickname Donkey Lips. I think there's a guy on YouTube, Wet Movie 1. He's good friends with him. And Wet Movie 1, he's a guy I've never really talked to. Like, I know of him, he knows of me. We're both friends at Dead Pit, but... Dead Pit Radio on YouTube. Great friends with him, but... Be nice me and him talk one day, Wet Movie 1. But, yeah. Michael Ray Bauer, Donkey Lips. And Ethan Suplee is brothers. You buy it because they have the same similar look, and they look like they could be related. Now here you have Orlando Jones, and this, I wonder if you could actually do this today, where a teacher is flirting with a student, and I mean, she's of age, of course, but I don't know, I wonder if people would be on, it's Stevie, it's too but it's meant for good fun. There's nothing illegal going on. I like Orlando Jones's look coming up here when he's walking away after this. Because he checks her out. Right here, checks her out. That smile. Orlando Jones, very talented guy. Always enjoyed him. He was on Mad TV. I remember him most for the 7-Up commercials. 7-Up yours. He did a lot of 7-Up commercials. He was a spokesman for a while. Now, he had his hand in movies. Sally didn't work out for him either. Obviously, Seann William Scott worked out for more because those American Pie films they made quite a few of them, what, 4 or so. I forget how many. I'm sure they're going to try to do another one. I'm sure. But Orlando Jones plays Professor Harry Block. I remember that because one guy tries to call him Mr. Black. Block. What's funny in the commentary is the group made fun of this guy playing the cop because the guy playing the cop, he was on the crew. I forget where he is on the crew, but they're like making fun of his acting in a good natured way. This guy played the Force Major, like even Ira Reitman, they're all kind of making fun of the guy playing the cop because obviously they're good friends because he's part of the crew. But yeah, the commentary is very fun. But Orlando Jones. This year he did a film called Double Take. I don't know if people remember that. I remember that being advertised quite a bit at the time. Because, there's Orlando Jones and there's Eddie Griffin and they got switch places, pretend to be the others, but they barely pretend to be the other. Like, that was the funniest part of the trailer. Then when you watch the film, that's barely part of it. So, it's like, could have been a fun concept, but they don't roll as much as they could with that concept. So Double Take I wasn't a fan of. That's a film that I thought could have been better. I mean, I like Orlando Jones more than Eddie Griffin. And then he was in The Time Machine, which I liked it. A lot of people did not, but I liked The Time Machine with Guy Pearce. But that was a massive flop. That was directed by the grandson or great-grandson of the guy who wrote the story of The Time Machine, Wells, H.G. Wells. I think his name's Simon Wells. But, yeah, it didn't work out. But The Time Machine flopped. Yeah, I think it's a fun film, but that was a flop. Then a few years later, he was in Primeval. That was a Crocodile or Date? I think it's Crocodile. Terrible film. It advertised as like a killer crocodile movie, but then it was more about the message of, the populace of the people and what's going on in this country and news and journalism. I'm like, you advertise it as a killer crocodile movie. What the fuck is going on here? This ain't 60 Minutes. Okay? This ain't 2020. Okay? And then they kill off Orlando Jones' character, which was stupid. And again, you barely have the fucking crocodile, and then they advertise like a serial killer. A crocodile ain't a fucking serial killer. I hate Primeval. That's a piece of shit, and it flopped, and it deserved it. The last film I saw Orlando Jones in, I think, was Enemies Closer. The one with him, and what's that guy? The guy from That Thing You Do, An American Werewolf in Paris. Is it Tom Everett's guy? No, I can't remember his name. But they were in it, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was the bad guy. I didn't mind that film for what it was. But yeah, Enemies Closer. That was the last thing I remember him doing. Really peculiar. And of course you have the star David Duchovny. Now David Duchovny, this came out 2001, and this is pretty much near the end of his stint on the X-Files, because he started off, he had episodes of Twin Peaks and some other stuff. He had a bit role in, was it Chaplin, Beethoven, which I think Ivan Reitman was somehow involved with Beethoven, I think. Because I read that's how Ivan Reitman first heard of David Duchovny, was Beethoven. Which David Duchovny he has a bit part in Beethoven. But, what was it? Early films, California, with a K, with Brad Pitt. But then he got X-Files in 1993, and then that was a whole phenomenon. And he didn't really do any films from 93 to, I think the show ended 2002. I think the only films he did was the X-Files movie in 98, Return to Me, remember that in 2000, trying to be like a romantic comedy that didn't really do anything. And then in the last year or so of the X-Files, he was leaving the show, so now we're putting more Robert Patrick, and season 8, so he's disappeared for a while, but then Mulder comes back. And then season 9, it was really no Mulder. barely any Stoli. It was more Agent Dottie, Robert Patrick, and Monica Reyes. I forget the actress's name. But that's when, when the show was not Mulder and Stoli anymore, people were just kind of done. Then they were in the final episode until the revival, but I'm not getting into that. So I'm sure he's like, okay, I'm going to do more films now. I'm going to get into films. But then, and hey, I get to be in a comedy. Ivan Reitman, who did Twins, Kindergarten Cop, Stripes, Ghostbusters, accomplished comedy director. Hey, this is a guy who you could put your hat on and believe in. But again, this film, Sally did not do well. It completely fucking bombed. And then David Duchovny, he really not... I mean, he worked from time to time in movies, but he never really found success in movies. I mean, The Craft Legacy... I didn't see the movie, but Craft Legacy I saw. It was shitty. But I didn't see, was it Pet Sematary Bloodlines? I heard that's an awful movie and he was terrible in it. He directed a film called House of D. He directed it, he co-starred it, and Robin Williams was in that film. I remember that being a very abysmal movie, and it flopped and nobody saw it. Connie and Carla, some comedy that no one gave a shit about. You People with Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill. Terrible fucking film, and David Duchovny looked like he was stoned in that movie. He found some more success with TV. I think, was it Californication? I think that was the show, and I know that was around for a few years. And I forget what the show was. There was a show, I think it was about Charles Manson. I want to say that. I have to look it up now, because I'm curious. But, of course, he was in Zoolander. So yeah, Californication lasted from 2007 to 2014. So, 7 seasons. 7 seasons that lasted. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know it lasted that long. Aquarius, that was the show. Aquarius lasted for 2 seasons. It's about 2 detectives investigate the rise of Charles Manson. Which, that's interesting. I never saw that. I have to give that a watch one day. And then he did other TV stuff. He actually has a podcast, David Duchovny. He has a podcast. Because he did do an interview, like him and Gillian Anderson, him and Robert Downey Jr., and then him and Charlie Sheen. But he gets more into like philosophical stuff. So if you're thinking of a podcast about the movies, no, it's more about the philosophy of stuff. But anyway, I always liked David Duchovny. I'm a big, massive X-Files fan. That was another pleasure, is that to get to see David Duchovny in this type of role. Because I think he did do deadpan comedy well. He showed that in multiple episodes of the X-Files. Episodes like, I think, Bad Blood and Jose Chuns from Outer Space. Here you got Richard Mall. Which was like, oh shit, it's Richard Mall. Rest in peace to him. He was in Night Court, the TV show Night Court. He was in the 80s movie House. He had a bit part in National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. Where it was like the segment that's like Sounds of the Lambs. He's like, you got stay to the left. Right, I've been stay to the right. And then someone's choking Sam Jackson, and Emilio Estevez has to help him. Richard Mall, great comedic talent. Even for that bit there, it was nice to see him in there. I laugh with Seann William Scott. Like, stop, I gotta do this. Just something about that just seems so, like, real, just sad, and, you know. Now, I think I think the guy on the right is, I think it's the cop that is Kyle Gass of Tenacious D. I know one of the shorter, fatter cop is the other half of Tenacious D, that Jack Black and Kyle. Now, one of these students, I believe, is actually John Cho. Because you got David Duchovny. Look at that purple sweater. And I did funny with the commentary. He talks about that. There's John Cho on the far left. David Duchovny jokes about he had to give me a purple sweater. Like, really? Like, oh, the nice coat and a purple sweater. I highly recommend the commentary. It's a lot of fun. But on the far left, in the yellow hat holding, that is John Cho. On the far left, yeah, you see on the screen now with the yellow hat, he's carrying some equipment in his right hand. That is John Cho. Of course, later, he was in a few of the American Pie films, but of course, a few years later, he'd be in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and of course, Searching, which someone asked me what's my favorite film of like the last 20 years. Searching is my favorite film. The last Dread is close on others, but Searching just really hit me. I just love the way that was done and handled, and all the pieces just worked for me personally. There's John Cho. There you go. Had a little bit of focus there. Now here we have our cave system, which this definitely will be used quite a bit. And I like the idea behind the film. I like the idea of seeing the evolution in this quick succession, but of course it's a evolution of an alien form. So you see like these different weird amalgamations. This is a different take on an alien movie. Now, if I understand, the original script was much more serious. Much more serious. I think the first script was more a thinking man's piece. But that's very hard to sell, very hard to market, very hard to, that's hard to sell to a studio. Then Ivan Reitman liked the concept and said, hey, I'm going to turn to a comedy, and then went along with it. Now, I think at one point it felt like it was going to be more of a horror movie. I remember they said on the commentary, like, oh, there was parts where it was going to be more like a horror film. But then, they said, no, let's turn to a comedy. So, and then at the end of the film, it was going to be because it's evolution, it was going to be these very smart, intelligent beings. And those were going to be the last figures that our heroes have to deal with. But they say, well, it's hard to do that funny and to overcome. And they felt it wasn't massive, wasn't big enough. So they have the pretty much one of these creatures, but gigantic. Granted, to me, I'm also thinking, well, I'm sure, whether on purpose or not, he's probably thinking, well, it's going to be compared to Ghostbusters. Because of that, we had a big giant thing in the first film, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. In the second film, for good, Statue of Liberty, now we have a giant thing here. Now again, the CGI does not hold up the best, but it's 2001, so I'm willing to cut it a break. I mean, would I prefer practical? Absolutely. No time for sex. See, I like the cast, I like the camaraderie, I like the banter, I like the chemistry. I do think David Duchovny and Orlando have really good chemistry with each other. And honestly, some of my favorite bits are with the two of them alone. But, I mean, think of, like, David Duchovny. Like, one's the brain, one's the mouth, and one's the heart. So Seann William Scott is more the heart. Emotions on his sleeve, just like Dan Aykroyd's heart was on his sleeve. But it's not the same exact character. It's just a different interpretation. And then David is more of the brain. But again, not an exact copy of Edon. It's a different interpretation. And then, of course, Orlando more the mouth, like Peter Venkman. Then you have that fourth member. So I guess it's kind of like the Sigourney Weaver and Ernie Hudson combined. So you had Julianne Moore. But yeah, Ivan Reitman at this point in time, I, I can't remember what was the last film he made that was a hit, because maybe Kindergarten Cop? He did Junior, and Junior, I don't think it was a good film at all. That was, what, 94 or so? And then you had 6 Days, 7 Nights, which I did enjoy. I do like that film, but that film did not do the best. Then you have this weird, like a deranged seal or something. I love the fact that he just leaves and closes the door. Just like anybody, I don't want to deal with this shit. It's not my problem. I don't want to deal with this. Granted, I mean, realistically, you tell everybody they go there, then they would see the thing because it can't go anywhere, but, you know. But, yeah, 6 Days, 7 Nights was the last film, was the previous film he did, Ivan Reitman, and I thought that was a fun movie with Harrison Ford, Anne Heche, rest in peace, Anne Heche. But I think that's an underrated film. That's a fun movie, but it didn't do great when it came out. And then after this, he did My Super Ex-Girlfriend. He did, I think the last film he did, was it Draft Day? Was it with Kevin Costner? Which I remember not being big on. And here we get the first instance of, or inclination of, this our lead character's backstory. Which you find out later, which is he worked for the government, and there was some kind of, I think, supposed cure, but then people had really bad health, like sickness, for like a month or so, and the Kane madness, yeah, because his character's name's Ira Kane. So it was called the Kane madness. Now, I did not sadly get to see this in the theater. I'm trying to think where I was in 2001. Of course, before Ted Levine, the great Ted Levine. I love Ted Levine. He's a great actor. Of course, known for Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs. And I remember him from this movie called The Mangler, because he got to play the good guy. And I thought he had some really good lines, and I like The Mangler. I think that's a fun, weird, quirky, bloody movie. The Mangler is fun. He had a lot of success on Monk, which is, I think, a great TV show. I never got to see the reunion movie a few years ago, but Monk, very fun TV show with Tony Shalhoub, and of course he was the captain, the ally to Tony Shalhoub's character. So great to see Ted Levine here. He's good at that deadpan delivery. Now this other guy is, I believe, Ty Burrell. He was in the Dawn of the Dead remake. He played the dickhead businessman of the people in the mall. Now, we got Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore, honestly, was just kind of there for me. I don't mind her as an actress, but, I don't mind her, but, like, I hate the fucking running gag where she just clumsy and trips. First off, Ivan Reitman kind of already did that in Junior with, was it Emma Thompson? I'm trying to think who was in Junior. Yeah, here's the Mr. Black. Block. I thought that was, yeah, I thought that was a funny joke. You and Mr. Black? Block. Not Black. Yeah, Emma Thompson. So Emma Thompson had already done that whole clumsy, goofy, I slip, I fall, I trip, I do these klutzy, being a klutz. So you have someone who's like a scientist, but they're a klutz. So he already did that, and I didn't, it's not really a funny gag. And I don't know if you really needed a romantic angle in this. I don't know if you really needed a romantic bit. I think it honestly could have just been the two of them, and then Seann William Scott makes three, and just the three of them. But, it is what it is. It's not a horrible thing or anything. It's just, do I think it was needed? No. But, I mean, Julianne Moore is not bad either. And, she's a good-looking lady, too. I like her. Look. Of course, you have the playful music, and then... Again, as a fan of the X-Files, it was fun to see David Duchovny get to play around and do stuff like this, like moon the camera and such. Again, he does have such a deadpan delivery that I think he can work in comedy. Again, X-Files episodes show that. I think this shows that. I can't tell you why this film bombed. It's just a lot of people didn't think it was a good movie. Maybe that's just the case. I mean, that's the thing. We all have different tastes in movies, and there's some movies that I love. Raiders of the Lost Ark, a lot of people do. I love Ghostbusters, the original, a lot of people do. But then you have Evolution, and a lot of my friends like it. I know my friend Michael Keane, the Choice Voice, he likes it. I know my friend Afri likes it. I know my friend Fabio likes it. Now, one thing they were going to do in this, you see her shirt and how it's kind of pronounced here. Apparently, throughout the scene, it was like some stuff was going to fall out. You see more of her breast. That's why if you watch her, she does this bit where she holds this. It's because there was a joke where things would like pop off. I don't know, I guess part of her klutzy nature, like she didn't do it right or something, and like didn't even show more cleavage, but see, I was like, the bun's a little bit popped off, but you'll see here she'll do this. There's supposed to be a whole joke about that, but they thought, maybe that's a bit too sleazy. Here we get the backstory of David Duchovny's character, the Kane madness. And also there was some fun bits that's kind of, not taking a shot, but a reference to X-Files. Oh, well, it's called the government. No. I know those people. Can't trust those people. I know those people. So I thought that was a nice nod to, X-Files, being an FBI agent and stuff. But, yeah, I feel this is Ivan Reitman's most underrated film. I do. In fact, I want to look up Ivan Reitman's filmography. Because people go, well, why is it funny? I mean, if funny is subjective, see how she's holding her shirt like this? That's why. Because there's stuff that you would show more of her breasts, and she covered it. It was, again, that stuff was cut out. That's why she's holding it like this. Oh, their stuff's been taken. I like the line, forget the foreplay, we've just been screwed. I think that's a fun line coming up. Forget the foreplay, we've just been screwed. Now the score, I like the score too. The score has this playful air to it, and the score's done by John Powell. Now John Powell, he's done a lot of music and score throughout the years. He did Face Off, before this with, I thought that was a decent store. But he also did Detox, aka ICU. Now, granted, when it came out on, eventually DVD, because it was supposed to go theatrical, but went straight to DVD. They cut some of the music out, but if you find like the warp print, the original cut, and you can go on YouTube and find John Powell, Detox ICU soundtrack. It's a very good store. I say that's my favorite John Powell store, but this it works well for its intended purposes. And it has a fun air to it. So it almost in a way, this kind of Ivan Reitman going a little bit back to Stripes. I think he even said in the commentary. But yeah, look at Ivan Reitman's films. Meatballs is fun. Stripes is a classic. Ghostbusters is a classic. It's between Ghostbusters and Stripes, which is my favorite. I'll probably say Ghostbusters, but Stripes is pretty close second. Little Eagles, I don't think I ever saw. Twins is fun. Ghostbusters 2, I think is underrated. Kindergarten Cop is fun. Dave is good. I like Dave. Dave is a fun one. With Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver, Ving Rhames, Charles Grodin. That's a fun film. Junior, I did not like. Father's Day, I didn't mind. It's not fantastic, but Father's Day I can have fun with. 67 Nights, I think, is fun. Again, I think this is his most underrated. But by Super Ex-Girlfriend, I could never get into. Was never for me. No Strings Attached, not for me. Natalie Portman, Ashton Kutcher. And then Draft Day, I saw that one time. I don't think it's a comedy. I think it's more of like a drama. But I think I saw that once, and I don't remember a damn thing about that film. And that's sad. That's the last film that he did. Now, it says here that Ivan Reitman was the motion capture body double of Egon in Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is what it says here. I don't know how true that is, but I think he did produce stuff. I think he produced that Baywatch movie, and he was a producer on Ghostbusters Afterlife and stuff. But I think he produced Space Jam. He produced Back to the Day, Heavy Metal, which is a good animated movie. And here we see that's cave set once again, which will be used quite a bit throughout the movie. Like I said, I mean, it's CG. I do like the designs of the creatures, though, I will say. I think the designs look pretty cool. And you have some interesting set design, which I do like. Definitely an alien. Again, interesting centipede, bug, designs throughout. I think this will eventually lead into the famous, infamous, "There's always time for lubricant," which is probably the line people remember the most from this. But it is a great line. You don't know if he's coming or going. That's the thing. I mean, at the very least, the designs are cool to look. I like the blue. And there he goes getting eaten up. So in a way, it's like Ghostbusters with a little bit of Men in Black flavor to it. Oh, this is a funny joke too, where David says snag one. Snag one. Snag one? No, this is where the black guy dies first. You do it. I do like the look of these creatures though. I think they look really cool. Now, this joke I thought was kind of, eye rolling. That, the back of him is like. I mean, the way Orlando Jones says that line is kind of funny, I will say. So I could let that one go. And then it leads into him talk about Julianne Moore. Which then she hears the dialogue and is like, oh, that's how you feel about me. I do like when they hear it and you have Orlando Jones pretending to be her, like, oh, oh. So here she hears about, how he really thinks about her. I mean, because, just had that trial and it didn't really work out, then he thinks she stole their stuff, so you can't blame her for being pissed at her. Eddie Orlando Jones. Orlando Jones. This is going to be the culprit there. Something's in my suit. I'm laughing because I know what's going to be arriving soon. I will say, okay, I mean, I do quite like the film. Do I have issues with it? Sure. One issue is that sometimes the jokes do travel down the too juvenile road. I mean, the big finale is they pretty much have to stick a hose up an alien's ass and overload it with Head and Shoulders. And that was the other thing, is this big Head and Shoulders commercial. I mean, granted, they do play up on it where they do a Head and Shoulders commercial. So at least they admit it. And they even talked about in the commentaries, like, these guys would do a Head and Shoulders commercial. Just be a fucking big payday. I like how one of them holds it. You see they hold it backwards. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's sometimes a bit too much like anal jokes. A lot of anal jokes. Like this one with the lubricant, that's a funny one though, I will say. You're the man. No, you're the man. Yeah, I'm the man. I think good chemistry with each other. Like, okay, this is a juvenile joke, but it's if it works, it works. It's the best joke in the movie. If this was like the only juvenile joke in the movie, that'd be fine. I didn't. Don't take the lead. Don't go up to his crotch. No, take the lead. No, take the lead. There's always time for lubricant. And I just love also like David Duchovny, the way he's talking to him. Don't clinch, don't clinch. Look at that, you took it like a man. He's like yelling at him, don't clinch, don't clinch. You took it like a man. And then after, like, he tries to fight the doctor, or rather, saved him. So, He tries to choke the doctor. It was this big, man. Look, you took it like a man. Ice cream. I want some ice cream. What flavor? It doesn't matter. It's for my ass. Like, that's a great scene. That, I mean, if you don't do Juvenile, that's a great fight. To me, that's the best scene in the movie, or the funniest scene. Now, I'll talk about this now because it pertains to that scene we just saw. The little bud that was inside of him. There is an alternate ending to this. And the alternate ending, you see like his butt has inflamed. I guess the idea is that it's like pregnant. And so the idea is that a lot's going to escape out of him or something. It's played off as a joke. Again, as if that bud impregnated him. But I just see why they took it out, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts that you just come into play with that. It's like, nah, let's not do that. Let's not. You don't need to overcomplicate that shit. I don't know if they were the studio's decision or their decision to take that out, but whoever did it, I think made the right choice. It still makes me just confused that so many people shit on this film, crapped on this film, but then, with all due respect, Ghostbusters Afterlife gets the pass. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, really? Even like the critics are praising the 2016 Ghostbusters film, but you're shitting on this movie. I love someone to tell me how they think Ghostbusters 2016, these critics, is better than this movie. Please. Well, none of those critics are watching this video, but feel free to educate me on how you think Ghostbusters 2016 is better than this fucking film. Again, I wish the creatures were more practical, but at the very least I like the designs. Seann William Scott, sometimes he plays the character a bit too goofy, or maybe something a bit more subtle could work, but I mean, I like Seann William Scott, so it's not a big deal. I do like him as a performer. I try to remember the first time I saw Seann William Scott. It was either this film or because I don't think, like I said, I didn't see this in the theater, because 2001 I was in high school, because high school graduated in 2002. So it probably wasn't until DVD when I saw this. So this might have been the first film I saw Seann William Scott in, because I had not seen American Pie until much later. Was it Stark Raving Mad I think he was in? I had not seen that. The Rundown I didn't came out in 2003, so. Now look at this hat throw. This was legit. This was for real. David Duchovny throwing the hat and making the garbage. Look at this. Right there. Boom. And again, that's another fun bit in the commentary. They're like, oh my god, he did it. But that was legit. That was for real. There was no manipulation. That was not digital. He really did throw that hat and make you right in that fucking garbage. And David Duchovny's like, yep, this is the proudest I've been in all film. or something like that. Like, the most proud moment is I made that hat, right? This is the best moment for me. But it's nice just to see Seann William Scott now with the other two, now the third guy. And I do like this. I think Phil Tippett, his group, worked on these effects. I do. I think the practical effects, that does look pretty cool. Nice practical effect. And I would go see another creature. Although I don't think we see this creature ever again. Well, because it dies here, but that is the weird thing, though, is like they bring up these creatures, then you never really see them again. So, like that creature that killed the guy on the golf course and Seann William dropped the body there. It's not like that creature ever comes back again to really, attack people. Same with this, kind of a more of a cutesy face. But then you see it's got this thing with its tongue, which I don't know how these people think it's a dog. Okay, nobody in their right mind would ever think this was a dog. So I don't know, this girl, like, maybe she had some peyote in her fucking tea or something. We don't have a dog. Well, that don't look like a dog. Are you all on peyote? Are you in the spirit world, asshole? We can't see you? What the fuck? Like, no, like, why anyone thinks this looks like a dog, I have no fucking clue. I do like the effects on the face. The expressions, the innocent of the eyes, wide expression. And then you surprise. I think this is probably one of the better looking creatures. Definitely one of the better looking creatures, at least to me. Of course, she has a gun right then and there. And what did it do? Like release a fart or something, or just gas? What was it? So one of these was not meant to happen. I think that was not meant to happen there. But then this was meant to happen. So I think that that's the deal. Her coat getting caught was not meant to happen. And it was like a happy accident, but then her walk. And what's funny is that worked better than her just to the door. If that was the only time that happened, her coat getting caught on the door, that would have been funnier because it'd be like, oh, well, just some weird event that happened and you caught it on film and you keep going and just one of those weird things. This like Ghostbusters where Edon's listening and Reitman's like, Edon. You tap in, Edon's like, what the hell? And then slams the book down. Just one of those little things that just happen, you know. And Julianne Moore, I mean, she's been in the Lost World, Jurassic Park 2. She was in Hannibal. She was in this movie called The Forgotten. I mean, I don't mind her as an actress. Some people dislike her. I don't mind her. Nice looking place. Looks like what is it, like Denny's or something. Well, it's not Denny's, but some reminds me of like IHOP. Which, man, it's been forever since I've been to an IHOP type of place. I would love to go there again. Especially like the bacon, like the breakfast stuff, the bacon, the eggs, waffles. You know what's cool? You get waffles and you put bacon and eggs in there. You make like a waffle sandwich. And then we have Sarah Silverman, which apparently she was supposed to be in the film a lot more. Like, we were supposed to see a lot more of either her breaking up with him and some other stuff, but a lot of that footage was cut out, and this is like the only scene with Sarah Silverman. Good, because I don't like Sarah Silverman. I never thought she was funny. She's annoying in real life. She's annoying in films. I think there's a good reason why she never got to be a big star, because she just has this unlikable aura to her. Like in movies, the big bit, what was it? Ryan Philippe punched her in the face. You know, shut that bitch's mouth for a foot starter, or something like that. And then Tear just meant to hit her, but he actually accidentally punched her for real. I think Benicio del Toro was it. I forget what the film was called. I'll look it up real quick. The Way of the Gun. It was The Way of the Gun. So, which was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who went on to direct Mission Impossible, Road Nation, Fallout. I think he did even the final one he did, which I never saw the final Mission Impossible. I don't think a lot of people did, because it didn't do that great. Which, I mean, I just didn't care to see it. I don't know. Didn't get requested it. It's like, I don't know, probably 3 hours long, and you didn't really hear anybody have any buzz about it, unlike Fallout. But the one after that, was it Final Reckoning or something, Part 1, then they changed to Part 1 because that movie wasn't that good and didn't do as well as they thought, so they changed aspects. And remember when Tom Cruise was like, I'm going to film shit in space, and then that never happened? Then there's going to be a new film, like a brand new film, a separate film in space, and now he's not doing it? I'm like, yeah, because it's a stupid decision. I understand you want to do crazy shit, but space ain't nothing to laugh at. Okay, space is a different case. You're off base. But it's cool now that you got the team of the three of them together. And again, these three work well together. It's like David Duchovny can kind of dunk on Orlando, then Orlando can kind of dunk on Seann William Scott, and like this pecking order. And again, it's the cast and camaraderie these three have that makes this a fun watch. Great googly moogly. And Dave's look. I love Orlando on the calendar. He's like, this is what happens when you have a PG-13 film, because if this was an R-rated film, I would not say that. I'd be saying a lot of different other things. But, and he also mentions how this was like a tough thing to remember. Does he remember all the details with this speech? You gotta go over there, you're over there, it's over there. All these terms, there, you know. But it's too bad. I mean, I would love to have seen a sequel to this. What that would have been, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I have to think about. Yeah, I like the design of these guys too. It was like a big loony. There you go. All these facial reactions. And then we have like one of the big action scenes of the movie, which the lubricant is my favorite funny moment. This is, I think, the most fun moment is the whole mall sequence where the three of them get shotguns and they band together and they come up with a plan and they shoot the creature. Now, I think in the original cut of the movie, there was a much longer chase with them chasing this creature. Whereas a lot more of them following the creature, seeing where the creature's going, them behind the creature, chasing the creature. But I guess they felt we need to get this creature as soon as possible to this place. And this poor guy here is like, what did he do to deserve it? Was it just wearing red? It's like a bull? So yeah, there's a much longer scene with them following the creature. I believe that's actually the scene after this where you have the song "Play the funky music, white boy." That was actually supposed to be before this, where they lose the creature, they know where it's going, then they're on the way of the battle, and then they start singing that song. But I thought it worked better here. I think it was on the DVD. I think it's on the Blu-ray, and I thought it worked out better here for the pacing. Oh, there's a funny line reading from this lady. Just a minute, bitch. It's the bitch, but bitch. I know David Duchovny liked that too on the commentary. See, that's the thing is I've listened to the commentary quite a bit, and this thing here, it's now again, this is one of those movie things. Would there be guns and shotguns in the mall? You know what I mean? Is like Dawn of the Dead from back in the day. And then would there really be shotguns in the mall you just grab and get ammo and stuff? I mean, now this amount of like this goofiness is funny though. Caw, caw, caw. I get it. It's women's lingerie. Not you, the creature. Women's lingerie. But I just thought this was a cool bit to have this action scene in a mall. It's not many creature movies where you have a scene in a crowded mall and a creature flying around and stuff. But the music is making it exciting. Our heroes have a goal. We get to see them be heroic. So like, and they each have their purpose. Seann leads the creature, Orlando saves the girl, and David kills the bird. So they all have their purpose. I thought this was funny. Move out of the way here. I'm going to shoot him. I love how deadpan Orlando is on this. Yeah, it's when he starts singing that, David's like, stand by, I'm going to shoot him. I love David's. I love Orlando's just frustration. Don't shoot him. Just the dumbfounded expression on David's face is pretty funny too. Now, why does this attract the creature? I don't know. It's comedy. Maybe it's just the vibrations. I don't know. Who knows? Curiosity. Maybe its ears. Maybe it affects its hearing and needs to stop it. Orlando gets the girl. Seann let him, and this is a cool shot. Boom. That's a cool shot. That wide shot comes out. He's like, he's not listening to you, lady. White meat or dark? You have to ask. Now, again, this scene here was meant to be before the scene. But it works better here because why would... I mean, if we're chasing after a creature that may be hurting people, why are we singing as if... Though this would work better because it's like triumph. We stopped the bad guy, we're heroes, we're badasses, we saved someone. It's a celebration. This would actually make more sense here. I don't know why. Sometimes it's fun to see people have fun like this. Maybe because you can kind of see yourself as part of it. But there's a lot of movies that do. Like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. It's one of my favorite scenes where they sing "Just One More Day." Say goodnight, say goodbye. Hold on, just for one more day. Just hold on. And that was in the second one, but they cut it out. But I think if you watch, well, I think it's deleted scene. I guess it was in. And of course, now we have Dan Aykroyd. Which, of course, worked with Ivan Reitman before in Ghostbusters. And this is a time period where he would do a lot of this, would kind of come in, supporting role. So years before, he was in Tommy Boy, of course. You had Christmas with the Cranks was after this. He didn't get to star in movies as much as before. Although, I mean, after Blues Brothers 2000, maybe, there's a reason for that. But, I do like Dan Aykroyd. I like Nothing But Trouble. I like when Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Let's see, Spies Like Us. Among other films. makes me wonder, whoever does these graphs, where it's always like something spreading like wildfire. You see a lot of like Outbreak, all this stuff. There's always something that's spreading like wildfire and stuff. Outbreak did a lot of that stuff. Like, is there really a truthful way to be able to get that much detail on how much they'll spread and not spread or something? I don't know. Of course, they get blamed for it. Kind of like Walter Peck in Ghostbusters. Not many movies where you have someone yell, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." Yeah, not your typical response in this kind of movie. We just we just shot an alien out of a department store. I forget the verbiage that David Duchovny said earlier. Now, I would say this is my favorite design in the movie, is these alien baboon type of guys. I do think I was saying the one, this I would say is my favorite. I think I said that one thing before, that the one that they say was a dog, but this one, and this I like this is probably the closest the movie is to, I would assume the original script was. It was going to be more serious, more thriller, more less comedic. Was here, taking out the security cameras, and this whole bit here where it's not really played for laughs. This whole scene is played serious. And yeah, these are my favorite design. Like, these are my favorite designs of these creatures in the whole movie. Maybe because it's the one that's done practical, but I like the look of the face, the structure, like the eyes especially. These just completely white eyes. I think it was white, right? Yeah, and it's all done practical. What she did practical was just, you can't beat it. Can't get more real than real. And it's got this kind of herky jerky, like frantic. It just, I liked it. It's just a different feel. It's a different feel, different vibe from the rest of the film, but I like it. Again, I would say if any scene is probably what the original script was like, would be this one. Well, again, nothing's played for laughs. It's all played for real. It's trying to be a bit more suspenseful, a bit more, which I just made sense because this has to be Dan Aykroyd's decision to now bomb and use whatever weapon you can. So you have to make it seem like such a serious threat that, well, this is why he's now choosing this position. Now we have our fourth member. And man, we got 26 minutes left of the film. There you go. So we're getting to our third act in the movie. I know there's other stuff cut out of this film because if you watch the might have been I don't know if it was the trailer or the TV spots, but there's a bit where when they're in the cave, Julianne Moore pulls out a gun, shoots, and David goes, "That's so hot." And she gives kind of this look. That's not in the movie. And I don't know why they cut that out. And I don't think that's in the deleted scenes as well, so I don't know what happened to that footage. On a side note, I hate when they do that shit. I do. I fucking hate when they push shit in the trailer and the ads, TV spots, whatever, and then it's not in the goddamn movie. I hate that, because it could be like a fun moment, or a cool moment, or an interesting moment, or a funny moment, and then you're looking for it, you go, where the fuck is that? It's like The Equalizer 2. I wasn't a fan of the film, but the one part of the trailer I liked was when Denzel asks, "Are you a fan of Star Trek?" And then does like the Vulcan, and then breaks the guy's fingers. That's not in the movie. It was like one of the better parts of the trailer. The Beekeeper. Honey's flammable as fuck. Who knew? In the trailer, funny line, not in the movie. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a trailer for Rambo 4. It's a hard to find trailer, but it shows Rambo when he does the 50 caliber. One of the bad guys shoots a rocket. Rambo jumps out of the Jeep, rolls as the Jeep he's on blows up. So imagine he's done with the 50 caliber. There's no more bullets. A bad guy shoots a rocket. Stallone's Tater jumps, does a roll on the ground, while the Jeep behind him blows up. Not in the director's cut. That I don't know where the fuck that footage is and where it went to. Why that has not seen the light of day, I have no idea. I hate when they do that stuff. I hate that. If you don't think it's good for the film, don't put in your fucking advertising. But I mean, multiple films have done that, and multiple trailers have done that. Now, I will say that's a bit weird. Who throws a fucking lit matchstick across the room? You know what I mean? And what was he? Was he aiming for the sink? Like, that could easily start a fire. Have you ever had whatever matchstick and just fucking throw it across the room? Especially when it's lit, that shit. When you see that there's fucking fire on there, if you do it, you blow it out. And then you throw it, or you throw it away, or you drop it. But you blow it out. He didn't even blow it out. He just threw the thing while it was lit. Even if that it could have started those books on fire, the counter on fire, everything on fire. I mean, obviously they did that because the fire hits it. Then they see, oh my god, if they throw napalm, whatever the taste on there is going to be much worse for wear. But I don't know. You would think just a different way where they're doing all these tests with, I don't know, chemicals. Maybe there's like a beaker, something, and either Julianne Moore, who's klutzy, or Seann William Scott, who's something about it. I don't know. Just weird to like. I don't throw this lit fucking match that I haven't blown out. Hopefully, it doesn't catch anything on fire. Also, interesting that Seann William Scott just lying on the table. Ethan Suplee and Michael Ray Bauer. Fun. Those two have really fun reactions. For the longest time, I did not realize that was the guy from Salute Your Shorts. The guy on the left when it's on the two guys. I never knew that. I didn't grow up with Nickelodeon. My aunt would send the family, me, my mom, my brother, my sister, would send us VHS tapes because she had cable. She knew I was more of the movie or cartoon. I would watch more. So a lot of times she would send them to me. So it was like Ren and Stimpy, Simpsons, some X-Files. I think Are You Afraid of the Dark, but I don't remember much of any of them. And I think like other shows, Secrets of the Hidden Temple, I think there were a couple of them, and stuff of that nature. One of them, some Salute Your Shorts. So that's how I knew of the show. But at the same time, she didn't send many of them, and it's been so long. I still haven't seen that show in forever. But the name sticks out. I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy. Okay. We got that. Head and Shoulders. A lot of people had their hair like that too, where like the hair would be so, if not gelled up, but so particular that it felt like you would break it or something. And especially that theme where they try to make it like more blonde on top than on the sides. You just got your A's. Yeah, all right. Now, this bit here was re-edited where I believe this scene was supposed to be after the big creature has erupted. And that's what David Duchovny is looking at. He's looking at the big creature that's emerged. But I guess they felt this would be a better fit here. Which again maybe makes sense because why would they be doing this when there's a big creature right there? It would, because you see David, I think he puts on his coat. See, he's putting on his coat. So he had his coat on. Then that scene he's putting on his coat. That's because, again, that scene between him and Julianne Moore is supposed to be after all this, when the creature's up and they don't know what to do and all that jazz. So, but yeah, that's why. In the next scene, he's putting on the coat that he already had on in the previous scene, because that previous scene was supposed to go much later. Again, and from what I understand, in the original script, it was supposed to be much more intelligent aliens because of the evolution. You see from slud to like bigger creatures, then a flying creature, and then these baboon, ape man creatures, and then it's supposed to be these intelligent creatures. That would make sense in the scale of evolution. But again, I guess they felt they couldn't get much comedy out of that. They didn't know how to get comedy out of that. So I just go back to the well Ghostbusters. There's a big giant thing like a Stay Puffed. Have a big giant thing here. Now again, the whole like having to stick up its ass and give it a goddamn enema, doesn't like fart on them or something. That's kind of, a bit eye rolling. You know, I mean, it's not like the Ghostbusters shot at the Stay Puft's ass. Ghostbusters 2016, they shot at the thing's dick. But that was eye rolling there too. But the whole movie was a fucking eye roll. But yeah, this it for the longest time this film did not have a Blu-ray, and that's because the film bombed. So they felt, well, when you have a bomb like that, nobody's going to watch the film, nobody's going to care about the film. But then lo and behold, if it did finally get one, and again, I got it. It's over there. And I will say this is probably the first time in a while I watched it without the commentary, because the commentary is a lot of fun, because I just put the subtitles on, then listen to the commentary. So I'm watching the film, enjoying it, but then listen to the entertaining commentary as well. See, this is the scene here where I think when the other soldiers come in, she gets the gun, he turns... No, not soldiers, these creatures. She pulls out her gun and shoots it, and he goes, "That's so hot." But again, I don't know, that's nowhere around. So I have a feeling it was supposed to happen before Duchovny talked and ready for the hose. Good practical explosions. Oh, too late. Up, got that creature with the bid behind. Up, getting the baboon now. Yeah, the CGI isn't the greatest. What's funny, sometimes it looks like the CGI I saw the other day in Supercross versus Dino Gator, but that's what, from 2010? So 9-year difference. But that's the problem I have with CGI. There's plenty of films I like that have CGI. This being one of them, of course. Deep Rising, I see the Blu-ray there from Tino Lorber. I like Deep Rising. A lot of CGI in that, though. So yeah, there are many films I can enjoy and watch for many other reasons about the film, like this, the camaraderie of the leads, and the idea of the story, some of the designs of the creatures, among other stuff. Parts that I find very funny. But the CGI ages quicker than practical. It does. CGI ages a lot more quicker. Again, if you take John Carpenter's The Thing, The Blob from 1988, you take those films and those creatures, Aliens and the Xenomorph, the Queen, they still look great. Then you see this, and this is from 2001, and it just doesn't look the best. Hell, some of the CGI looks like CG in films today. That's definitely a promotional picture. Those four standing with the look on their faces. It's going to split and have two, then three, then four, and no time for sex, as he said earlier in the film. Yeah, so I don't know where that scene earlier with him and Julianne Moore talking would have fit, because there's obviously a time crunch with this thing splitting. It's like we don't have time for you to talk. We need to get this thing done before it splits into two and three, two and four and other stuff. Again, the score is very good. It has that fun adventure quality to it. I think John Powell did a very solid job on the score. Dun, 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 dun. And I know this film does have a fan base, because a lot of times you'll talk to people, say, "Oh yeah, Evolution, I liked that one." Yeah, I think everybody farts, and it's like, and probably my least favorite joke in the movie. Because I'm not usually a fan of that kind of fart joke, whatever you want to call it. It's just not my kind of comedy. I don't know if maybe in a way it was like Ivan Reitman trying to. Thankfully, it's not a ton of that in here, but maybe it was like he saw how comedies. There's something about Mary. There's American Pie. A little bit more of the raunchy comedy, and I didn't. Thankfully, there's not a lot of that in here. Maybe this is kind of his. Okay, here's something there. Here's this giant butthole that they gotta put the enema in. I will admit I did. There I'm laughing as I was trying to swallow it up. I appreciate those shots being practical. I mean, I guess you'd have to do it because you have to have a physical person go up the actually up in there. Yep, time to go. You gotta go, go, go. I think that the sad thing though is that like in this finale, a lot of the folks just don't have much to do other than stand there. So like Seann William Scott, even David Duchovny rescued Orlando, to be fair, but like, Seann William Scott's just kind of standing there. Even the other guys just kind of standing there. I guess you say they're minding the hose, the pressure, to be fair. But you think like Ghostbusters, they're all blasting the creature. They all blast the Stay Puffed. You wish there was a way they had a bit more to do in a way. I mean, I don't know. It works for the film. But I don't know if there was a way if each of them had their moment to shine in destroying this thing. But I figured you'd give it to Orlando because he's the one that got the butter up the butt. David came up with the plan. And Seann William Scott came up with the fire truck, so you say, there you go, that's how they contributed. I was going to say, those two belong there because they came with the head and shoulders. Wasn't for them, you wouldn't have it. I love how happy Seann William Scott is. This governor? I want to say, like, those other two deserve it too. They're the one that came with the head and shoulders. Without it, you wouldn't have shit. They should get medals too. I don't know if this would really be the time to have sex in a fucking fire truck. Giving her a bit of the Kane madness. But again, there's supposed to be that ending where you find out Orlando, in a way, has been impregnated, but they cut that out, which... So, yeah, this is from the scene, the chase scene that was deleted. I do like that, is it Orlando that holds it backwards? Yeah. And kind of a fun song. End of the world. I love the insignia, the logo with the three eyeballs. I think that's cool. Now, trying to think. Would have been curious to see. Well, I don't know. I don't. It would have been curious to see if there was some other. I don't know why I say horror, but more intense scenes, maybe. I think the part of me wishes there's somewhat of a. I don't want to say bigger scale, but a lot of times it takes place in that cave. And I just. I maybe just for me, I wish there was less CGI, more practical creatures to really set up these fun set pieces where they're dealing more with the creatures. Because really, there's the scene in the department store. Then there's the baboon bit, and then the end. So I wish there was a few more scenes where they having to deal with these creatures in one way or another, in comedic ways. Maybe kind of like Gremlins. They're a bit more involved. I remember saying like if like the whole town there was creatures abound, and I don't know, you made something in the script where all the creatures got together and or something led them. You drove them to this one location, and then they all melded in that big creature. Just seeing like more of the town. You see these 3 or 4 characters go around the town dealing with these creatures and comedic fun ways. Maybe what I'm saying is I wish we could have got down the sequel. I wish we could have seen more. But I mean, it's the makings of a fun film though. You want to see more. I feel bad that it's over because I want to see more with these characters. I want to see more misadventures. What you could have done with the sequel, I don't know. But it would have been great to see. But this is a fun movie. Brings a smile to my face. David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, they worked very well together. I think they had good rapport with each other. Seann William Scott was a fun addition. Cool to see people like Ted Levine and Dan Aykroyd in there. The score complemented the film well. It has just a fun energy to it. Like I said, a bit too much CGI, doesn't hold up the best, but I like the designs of a lot of the creatures. My favorite are the practical baboon. I keep saying but those monkey-like creatures, ape-like creatures. I think those were the best ones. And yeah, it's a shame this film just completely busted at the box office. It's a shame. It's too bad. But like I said, a lot of people just didn't like it. Critics were pretty critical of it. Maybe it's just they. Oh, Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. did the Alien Primates. Cool. Of course, they worked on Tremors, and they worked with Stan Winston quite a few times. They worked. Oh, it can be effects. I mean, you didn't get. I'm guessing like the dead body of that creature. That was TMB, huh? Okay. So Tippett was involved, but TMB. Wow. Okay. I wish TMB got to have more to do. There's not really a lot for them to do. But this was fun to watch again. This is still a fun movie. I still liked it. Maybe it's a reason, a mindset as to why I get hostile, angry, upset with some of these films that come out, and it shouldn't matter whether they're a hit or not. But I'm like, so that film's a fucking hit, but some like this and others get the shaft, which I just find much more entertaining and much more fun. I don't know. It sounds. I kind of wish there was an alien that had that kind of smiley face, the three-eye smiley face. I don't know how you would do that though, but I mean, we got Men in Black out 3 movies. It would have been great to see this get 3 movies, but well, I just technically had 4 with international, so there you go. So technically 4 movies. I think there was a cartoon that was loosely linked to this, but had different characters. I think there was, but I never saw it, so I don't have much info on that. But with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks once again, Rapid Kirby 3K for the request, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.